Off the Aegates Islands, Sicily, on the 10th of March 241 BCE, Rome faced off against Carthage in a naval battle. Rome, the terrestrial power, had transformed into a fleet of 200 quinqueremes under the command of Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto. Carthage, masters of the Mediterranean, were attempting to resupply their garrison at Lilybaeum with 250 ships. What followed would end the First Punic War and change the Mediterranean for all time. The Battle of the Aegates Islands. The First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE, had already raged for over 2 decades across the wealthy and strategic island of Sicily. Carthage dominated the seas, but Rome had come to know how to innovate, reverse engineering a seized Carthaginian quinquereme in 260 BCE to build a 200-ship war fleet. By 241 BCE, Roman commanders Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto stood ready to intercept a Carthaginian convoy of supplies to their besieged garrison in Lilybaeum. Carthage sent 250 ships under an experienced admiral, confident of their control of the seas. Rome's attack at the Aegates Islands would settle the outcome of the war. This fight would affirm Rome's cleverness in naval warfare, the decisive use of the corvus boarding bridge, and the order of the Roman sailors. The outcome of the battle would not only terminate Carthage's supremacy in Sicily, but also make Rome a powerful Mediterranean leader for centuries. The Roman and Carthaginian navies engaged on 10th of March 241 BCE off the Aegates Islands, Sicily. Rome had 200 quinqueremes manned by disciplined troops as well as boarding-trained sailors. Carthage possessed 250 ships fully loaded with grain as well as troops to resupply Lilybaeum. Romans, led by Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto, positioned their ships to capitalize on speed and maneuvering capabilities over the slow-moving Carthaginian convoy. Fatigued but cocky Carthaginian mariners found themselves at a loss to maintain the line. Roman marines readied the corvus boarding bridges, determined to turn the fight into close combat. The tension in the waters at dawn was electric, as 2 rival powers geared up for a fight to decide who controlled Sicily and shifted the balance of power in the western Mediterranean. The battle commenced at dawn on 10th of March 241 BCE off the Aegates Islands, Sicily. Roman quinqueremes, 200 under Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto, attacked the Carthaginian convoy of 250 vessels with grain and troops for Lilybaeum. Roman light, agile ships rammed slow-moving enemy vessels, while marines employed corvus boarding bridges to swarm over enemy decks. Pandemonium broke out across the Carthaginian fleet as Romans clashed in hand-to-hand combat, pushing enemy vessels into disarray. Carthaginian sailors struggled desperately under heavy loads and disorganization, many of whom deserted ship. Swells rolled with the motion of dozens of ships as bronze rams crushed planking. By noon, Carthaginian units were beginning to disintegrate, and Rome's well-ordered tactics inevitably reversed the course of the battle in their favor. The fight was a spectacular showcase of Roman navy acumen and coordination, ending Carthage's attempt to reinforce Sicily. As the sun progressed on 10 March 241 BCE, Carthaginian vessels along the Aegates Islands, Sicily coast began to falter. Packed with troops and grain, their ships were no match for the more agile Roman quinqueremes of Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto. Roman vessels took turns steaming between Carthaginian ships, ramming and isolating them as marines employed corvus bridges to come aboard. Carthaginian morale collapsed when well-trained Roman attacks repeatedly shattered their lines. Over half of Carthage's navy had been captured or sunk by midday, and sailors were drowned in thousands of waves. The victory confirmed Roman ingenuity at war at sea, and the successful execution of combined maneuvers, which brought about a turning point. The sea off the Aegates Islands was strewn with wreckage, which indicated that the Carthaginian grip on Sicily would not last much longer. By late afternoon of 10th of March 241 BCE, the Roman fleet under Gaius Lutatius Catulus and Quintus Valerius Falto had gained a decisive victory off the Aegates Islands, Sicily. The Carthaginian convoy of 250 ships had been reduced to scattered units, their supplies lost, and thousands of sailors drowned. Roman discipline and tactical use of the corvus boarding system allowed many Carthaginian ships to be taken into captivity. The aftermath forced Carthage to agree to the Treaty of Lutatius, which relinquished Sicily and a large indemnity to Rome. The fight brought an end to the First Punic War, reconfigured the balance of forces in the Western Mediterranean, and solidified Rome's position as a dominant naval power. The courage and creativity of Roman generals and mariners had ensured victory over the experienced Carthaginian navy, one that would forever decide the warfare of the seas. Defeat at the Aegates Islands on 10th of March 241 BCE was disastrous for Carthage. Their attempt to supply Lilybaeum had failed, thousands of sailors were lost, and over half of their fleet lost. Political unrest spread as citizens blamed the military commanders for the disaster. The finances of Carthage were drained by indemnities under the Treaty of Lutatius, while Rome solidified control of Sicily. The sea defeat forced Carthage to redefine its strategy in war, focusing on the reform of legions on land rather than trying to challenge Roman dominance of the seas. The defeat would leave a lasting legacy, determining Carthaginian actions in subsequent wars, including Hannibal's struggles decades later. The Battle of the Aegates Islands was a testament to Roman stoicism, discipline, and ingenuity, which proved that a determined republic could overcome a mighty sea empire. The 10th of March 241 BCE Battle of the Aegates Islands was the turning point in Roman history. The devastating Carthaginian defeat ended the First Punic War, established Rome's control over the seas, and demonstrated the superiority of innovation, discipline, and combined strategy. Rome's adoption of quinqueremes and corvus boarding bridges transformed its military, enabling the Republic to project its power across the Mediterranean. Carthage, chastened and depleted, addressed the rebuilding of ground armies, which would form the basis for the following campaigns of Hannibal. Archaeological discoveries off the Aegates Islands, including ship remains, weapons, and amphorae, persist in unveiling something of ancient sea battles. The battle is remembered as an example of human potential, Roman strength, and daring of marines and sailors who created history. Today, the islands of Aegates are a silent witness to the impact that altered the direction of the West Mediterranean.